Kok tadi belum ada suara ya? Halo, Assalamualaikum.
Iya.
Waalaikumsalam, Bapak.
Waalaikumsalam.
Gimana Pak dari?
Ya Pak,
Dimulai.
kita peserta Pak.
Oh, fotonya mana fotonya?
Panitianya siapa gitu.
Coba dicek.
Meda sama Kania Pak, itunya
Bu Meda.
kontak personnya.
Apalagi kumpul di ruangan.
Sedang berkumpul di
Sepertinya
ruangan
masih di sana.
VIP room, Bapak.
Oh gitu. Ya udah, aku dibuang ke sana
Bapak,
dulu.
sedang di
Baik,
VIP
Bapak.
room.
Baik, Bapak.
Nah, saya bukannya tolong dibuang ke sana dulu. Dilempar ya.
Ya, selamat datang Pak.
Halo Bu Tonya.
Iya Pak, kita sedang mencari Dr. Shirley. Sepertinya beliau namanya berbeda nama akunnya, jadi kita agak kesulitan. Pak Derajat, oh ada, sudah ada. Pak Willy, boleh minta tolong?
Sudah Bu,
Oke,
sudah saya
terima
jadikan co-host
kasih.
beliau. Baik.
Oke.
Diundang ke
Mungkin
breakout room nggak Bu, ke VIP room?
boleh Pak Arief juga ya?
Sudah Bu, Pak Arief sudah.
Oke, siap.
So, hello, good afternoon to
Tanya.
everyone.
Yes,
The president has logged in.
yes.
I was lagging
Yes.
different Zoom thing.
We have hello Dr. Shirley. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I hope you are well, and we really appreciate your coming here, even though you are not in a good condition. Thank you so very much. Can you please join the breakout room first, or okay. Dr. Shirley has joined the breakout room. Mr. Domingo, you can also follow her. If you may, please just click the breakout room and click join.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Kampus
inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian. Kampus terbaik, integritas, kuatkan tujuan. Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia, umat manusia, dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Kampus terbaik, inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian. Kampus terbaik, integritas, kuatkan tujuan. Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia, umat manusia, dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Terus berpacu dalam keunggulan, lincah pembelajar untuk kehidupan. Inilah semangat baru, tekad raih kesempatan, wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya.
Itu udah mulai belum itu?
Siap, Pak ya?
Oke. Well, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your kind attention, please? My name is Gatot Widodo, and on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to welcome all of you here at International Webinar Summer Course Smart Agro-Industry 4.0 in Tropical Countries, College of Vocational Studies, IPB University. It is our privilege to have you with us in this wonderful occasion. We are now ready to begin the proceeding of this webinar. Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Good morning and good afternoon. We are delighted to welcome you in International Webinar Series with the theme Implementation of Information Technology in Smart Farming for Smallholder Farmers. We really appreciate you taking time of your busy schedule to join us today. Honorable Dr. Derajat Martianto, Vice Rector IPB University, Professor Iskandar Julkarnain Siregar, Director of Directorate of International Program IPB University, Dr. Arif Daryanto, Dean of College of Vocational Studies IPB University, Dr. Shirley C. Agrubis, President Mariano Marcos State University, Philippines, Dr. Bagus P. Purwanto and Dr. Wawan Oktariza, Vice Dean, College of Vocational Studies, IPB University. Then Dr. Daisy Tambayung, Chairman, State of Academic College Vocational Studies, IPB University. Then respectable speakers, Mr. Boy Wicaksono, Head of New Ventures and Technology Incubation, PT Excel Axiata Tbk, Mrs. Nitya Indriana, Excel Future Leader and Facilitators, PT XL Axiata Tbk, Mr. M. Taufik Fadlullah, Local Representative of Flash Dairies in Indonesia, University Partners, distinguished participants, lecturers, and students. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the agenda today. The first, we are going to get a welcoming speech from Dr. Derajat Martianto, Vice Rector IPB University, the opening speech from Dr. Shirley C. Agrubis, President Mariano Marcos State University, Philippines, introduction to moderator, introduction to speaker, discussing, and closing. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to listen to the welcoming speech delivered by Vice Rector IPB University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Derajat Martianto. Mr. Derajat Martianto, you might take the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Gatot. Honorable Dr. Arif Daryanto, the Dean of the College of Vocational Studies, IPB University, and all of the leaders of university partners from Mariano Marcos State University, Tarlac Agricultural University, Iloilo Science and Technology University, Polytechnic Ungku Omar, University Putra Malaysia, Polytechnic Jadi Kelantan, Gyeongsang, and Gyeongsang National University. Dr. Bagus Purwanto and Dr. Wawan Oktariza, the Vice Deans of Vocational Studies College, Professor Iskandar Siregar, the Director of International Collaboration Office of IPB University, and also Dr. Alim Setiawan Slamet, the Director of Student Affairs, respectable speakers, Mr. Boy Wicaksono, Head of New Ventures and Technology Incubation at PT XL Axiata, and also Mrs. Nitya Indriana, XL Future Leaders Facilitators, and Mr. Muhammad Taufik Fadullah, Local Representative of Blessed Dairies in Indonesia. And of course, to all of you, the organizing committee, and also Mr. Suhendi Irawan, Mr. Tonya Sinaka, and all of the student delegates of the summer courses of program from around the world. Okay, good morning and good afternoon to all of you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And also special greeting to the President of Mariano Marcos State University, Dr. Shirley Agrupis. Magandang hapon po. Kamusta po kayo? We are happy that you are already getting well, and we are really very happy to hear that. And first of all, I would like to apologize that IPB's rector, Professor Arif Satria, cannot join to the meeting because he is still also at the recovery period. I think it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you at the summer courses of the second Smart Agro-Industry 4.0 in the tropical countries, which is integrated with the international webinar with the topic of implementation of information technology in smart farming for smallholders farmers. Welcome to IPB University. I am pleased to present to you the second summer course program organized by the College of Vocational Studies at IPB University, which is designed for students around the world, not only to enrich the academic profile and personal development, but most importantly, also to improve their abilities in the global competition. Congratulations to College of the Vocational School at IPB University for this very successful summer course program. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that the COVID crisis hit the agriculture sector particularly hard, with far-reaching consequences for food security and even the farmers' livelihoods. With the outbreak of COVID-19, the government implemented an emergency response and economic recovery plan to provide immediate relief to vulnerable groups, revive economic activities, reactivate food supply chains, and reduce import dependency. According to these recent conditions, it is important to provide a foundation for young people, especially for the diploma student, with the creativity, skills, and essential knowledge to help them maximize their potential and to enhance their employability by providing decent work, especially in agricultural sector linked and matched with industry. This is not only important for the achievement of national development, of course, but also for the goals of sustainable development. We know that young people have a great influence on their peers and are often in a better position to share knowledge and encourage the adoption of new practices. Youth tend to be more comfortable and more proactive when there are other youth involved. There is a scarcity and even a food crisis, especially during the current COVID-19 pandemic, where there are quite high fluctuations in demand and supply. For these reasons, it is necessary to create a high-precision food logistic system using artificial and blockchain that can guarantee accuracy, precision, real-time, authenticity, and transparency. One of the innovations that has been developed by IPB is precise flock, which can be granted onto the existing food logistic information system. Ladies and gentlemen, IPB University has been named as the first best university in the 2020 by the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic in the Republic of Indonesia. And not only that, this year, IPB University made impressive progress in the World University ranking also, as has shown as the world-class university by improving its strong position in global rankings. IPB University has now been ranked 511 to 520 in the QS World University ranking, and we are now in the top 62 list in the QS World University ranking by subject in agriculture and forestry in 2021, and had even placed first in ASEAN for the subject. In addition, IPB University also places 118th in QS ranking 2021, as well as 101 to 200 according to Times Higher Education Impact Ranking. As one of the oldest educational institutions in Indonesia, IPB University is considered to have a long history of supporting the advancement of the agricultural sector in Indonesia. And not only it have a role in the agricultural sector, which is its advantage, but IPB also developed the agricultural sector itself, both in creating added value from agricultural products as well as from agro-industry, which is currently the mainstay of the country's economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the agriculture sector is undergoing a transformation driven by new technologies, which seems very promising, as it will enable this primary sector to move the next level of farm productivity and profitability. New technologies are increasingly being applied in the farms to maintain the sustainability of farm production. However, the adoption of these technologies involve uncertainty in and trade-off. According to a market analysis, the factors that will facilitate the adoption of sustainable farming technologies include better education and training of farmers, sharing of information, easy availability of financial resources, and increasing consumer demand for organic food. Internet of Things, or IoT, in an agricultural context refer to the use of sensors and the devices to turn every element and action involved in farming into data. The ever-growing amount of data available for field management makes necessarily the implementation of some types of automatic process to extract operational information from work data. However, the volume of data currently retrieved from most commercial fields is arguably not yet at the level considered to be classified as a big data. Data-driven agriculture, with the help of robotic solution incorporating artificial intelligence techniques, sets the grounds of the sustainable agriculture of the future. The new philosophy centered on agricultural data has been expressed with several names: Agriculture 4.0, digital farming, or smart farming, and was born with telematics and data management were combined to the already known concept of precision agriculture, improving the accuracy of the operation. Traditionally, farmers have gone to the fields to check the status of their crops and make decisions based on their accumulated experiences. This approach is no longer sustainable, as among other reasons, some fields are too large to be efficiently managed according to the threefold criteria that will lead the coming years, namely efficiency, sustainability, and availability. Advanced management systems within the context of smart farming are providing practical solutions. Also, despite some farmers have a long-time experience gathered after many years of work in the field, technology may provide a systematic tool to detect unforeseen problems hard to notice by visual inspection or occasional checks. Regarding the willingness of adopting modern tools in agriculture, young farmers show a more positive attitude than elder ones, as the former can support their not so large experience in the field with the new smart tools providing key information. IPB continues to strive in releasing science and technology and technology innovation, and continues to encourage innovation results to be produced by industry and utilized by the Indonesian people. One of which can be developed is the application of IoT smart farming for smallholders, farmers, and agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, by adjusting the lecture contents with current technological and industrial development, link and match between the university and industrial world, we can bring the industrial atmosphere to the summer study program. Therefore, the summer study programs need to be done since it offers opportunity to the participants to discover different subjects. Not only will this round out your resume, but it also offers personal enrichment. To conclude my remarks, I wish all participants have a fruitful summer program. I encourage you all to use this opportunity to establish a common understanding of the issue at hand, to initiate activities in line with an effective strategy for the implementation of higher vocational education. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the Dean of the Vocational School, IPB University, and the organizing committee for their hard work so that this event can run well. By saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, I officially open the second summer course program in 2021 and the second Smart Agro-Industry 4.0 in the tropical countries. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Derajat Martianto, for the insightful welcoming speech. Excellencies, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to listen to the opening speech delivered by the President Mariano Marcos State University, Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Shirley C. Agrubis. Dr. Shirley, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Widodo, do I pronounce it right? Okay. To the IPB University officials, headed by its rector, Professor Aris Satria, ably represented by Dr. Irdrahat Marchanto, the Vice Rector for Education and Student Affairs, Dr. Aryef Daryanto, the Dean of the College Vocational Studies, and Miss Antonia Romandang Sinaga. I hope I am pronouncing your name right. The chairperson of the second summer course program, equally competent speakers of today's event, participating universities from the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, and South Korea, Laos, and Germany. I should not forget to greet my internationalization champion, Dr. Mijay Domingo, other SUC Philippine higher education participants, other guests. Good afternoon to everyone. Early this morning, I requested Dr. Mijay to represent me as I am still in my isolation bed due to COVID, due to COVID virus. I feel weak and gasp for breath when making few small steps. But later, Dr. Mijay said the rain is so strong in his isolation room. Yes, he too is on primary isolation as MMSU is devastated by primary transmission. So, it's a test of time. In fact, today is a test of time. But with God's grace, I will give my message. This is a testament of MMSU's commitment to this partnership. I want to start my talk by quoting De Blois Bowell, and I quote, "Making friends is easy, but sustaining friendship is difficult." I know that you will agree with me if I would say that IPB University and the Mariano Marcos State University are not only sustaining the friendship, but building and academic family as well. Indeed, our university is so much honored with this opportunity to speak before you today, and being a partner of one of the reputable institution in Indonesia, the IPB University. To us at Mariano Marcos State University is both an honor and privilege. I wish to extend our sincerest thanks for, despite the pandemic that we are facing right now, you selflessly share learning opportunities to our students. A year ago, 9 of our agriculture and engineering students joined the first run of your summer program. Just last week, 19 students of our business education and accountancy students finished the online summer course on business innovation and management. 5 agriculture students are again joining the second summer course program titled Smart Agro-Industry 4.0 in tropical countries. Their smiles and the words of gratitude upon receiving their certificate of completion are enough.
You are muted, Dr. Shirley. Yeah.
Am I coming clear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Their smiles. I was telling that our recipients for our second summer course program titled Agro-Industry 4.0 in tropical countries. Their smiles and the words of gratitude upon receiving their certificates of completion are enough for us to know that their experience with you have been worthwhile. We heard the Vice Rector emphasizing the strength of IPB University, and we cannot just we can only say thank you for embracing MMISH. Indeed, agriculture is the forerunner of sustainable development, and we are very, very fortunate to have been partnered with IPB University because we know that you have far advanced in this field ahead of MMISH. On final note, I wish to thank you for the opportunities given to our faculty and farmer cooperators. You are not only here to empower our students, but a holistic approach empowering both our faculty and our farmer cooperators. One of our engineering faculty and pioneers of bioenergy technology, Engineer Thomas Obinia, will be participating as a speaker in this year's summer course. On one hand, he will be sharing his expertise with the participants. On the other hand, his participation will contribute to his professional development. We are also sending 3 farmer participants who shall definitely learn valuable lessons on how to grow agro-industry in our region. And I am confident that they will finish the course with much knowledge to gain and apply in our country. With IPB as our partner, we are hopeful that we can be catalysts for agriculture in our country. My dear friends, our friends at IPB University, our partnership may still be young, but our accomplishments speak of a great future, a very bright tomorrow. This shows our commitment to sustaining the friendship that we established just 2 months ago and our determination to forge a stronger partnership with you for the advancement of quality education and research for humanity. Let us all be instrument of quality higher education in our region. After all, we are all brothers of the same origin. On final note, I am very proud to share with you the last international accolades given to MMSU by the world's universities with real impact. Media gave me as my birthday present. We were given the World University Real Impact, or WURI. We are ranked top 50 to 100 among world's universities with real impact in student mobility and openness. And I know IPB University contributed much to this recognition. So I would say, our dear friends from IPB University, we are counting so much on you. We might be enjoying our partnership virtually, but I hope that in the nearest future, we will be able to exchange face-to-face, meet face-to-face, and together we seal our friendship with more warmth and camaraderie. Thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone. COVID-19 is real. It's really devastating. I do not want to hear our partner suffering the thing that I have suffered. God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Shirley C. Agrubis, for the wonderful and inspiring opening speech. Ladies and gentlemen, it is true that summer course give multiplier benefit impact to unite us to work together by making MOU. Well, the following is the celebration of MOU signed between IPB University, Indonesia, and Mariano Marcos State University, Philippines. Here it is.
The celebration of MOU signing between IPB University and Mariano Marcos State University. The signing of the MOU between IPB and MMSU was carried out on May 6, 2021.
Mr. Willy, thank you.
I'm delighted to offer an endorsement for the upcoming summer course being organised by the College of Vocational Studies, IPB University. My name is John Ingram. I lead the Food Systems Transformation Research team in the University of Oxford, and I've had the pleasure of working with IPB over a number of years on a variety of topics. Summer courses are an excellent opportunity to learn, but also to broaden your network of contacts and to establish firm collaborations across the region. I thoroughly endorse the course and I look forward to hearing its outcomes. Thank you.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Rector and the Dean of Professional Study, IPB University, and also all of the participants. My name is Dr. Ida Budi Arsanti, the Director of Indonesian Center for Agriculture Education. It's a pleasure that I could participate in this event. I'm very support the summer course, the third international summer course on sustainability of tropical animal production that bring the theme creating innovation of animal production sector in the new normal era. It is very fit with nowadays condition, which we face several challenges in this year. Because this summer course will bring the new and wide horizon of knowledge and perspective and also experience of the student with having and bring the international lecturer, international professional and also stakeholders together in this event. Hope it will give the new benefit for students in order to increase their competencies and also all participants join in this event. Good luck. Thank you.
Wow, it is amazing. Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to have the main presentation. But before we go to this session, let me ask your permission to get the photo session. Please show your best performance in the session, and the organizing committee will take the photo. Administrator, please.
Okay, allow me to lead you in this photo session. Page 1, please give us your best pose. Okay, page 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, page 2. Oh, there are 21 page. Okay, page 2, 3, 2, 1. Wait. Okay. Page 3, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Page 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Page 5. Okay. Okay, unfortunately, page 6 until page 21, there are no camera on, so we won't take the screenshot. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your best performance. It's so wonderful. Excellencies, distinguished guest participants, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to the main session of this international webinar, second summer course, Smart Agro-Industry 4.0, Implementation of Information Technology in Smart Farming for Smallholder Farmers. This webinar will be moderated by Ms. Vidya Hasian Situmang. Ms. Vidya Hasian Situmang is a lecturer of Environmental Technology and Management Study Program, College of Vocational Studies, IPB University. She got bachelor degree in Communication Science and Community, IPB University, and master degree on Rural Sociology. She has been involved in the rural society and rural development. And she also has a lot of experience in campaign and community development, like Youth Farmer Ambassador, Indonesian Food System Summit, local food and food diversification work. And she's active in joining the organization like Tiny Center IPB University, Koalisi Rakyat untuk Kedaulatan Pangan KRKP, and alumni of Tanoto Scholar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Vidya Hasian Situmang. Ms. Vidya, the time is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Widodo. Am I audible to you? Yeah. Good day for all of us, participants of the second Smart Agro-Industry 4.0 in the tropical countries, improving farmers' competency. In this bright and vibrant day, I would like to invite you all to discussing time about implementations of information technology and smart farming for smallholders farmers. I'm Vidya Hasian Situmang. I will be your moderator today, and I will invite the three speakers for today. Our first speaker, Mr. Boy Wicaksono. He is the head of New Ventures and Technology Incubations of PT XL Axiata. Mr. Boy, are you with us?
Hello, Miss Vidya.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you.
And then the second speaker of today, Mrs. Nitya Indriana. She is the XL Future Leaders Facilitator of PT XL Axiata. Mrs. Indriana, are you joining us?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Ms. Vidya.
Okay, thank you. And then our third speaker, Muhammad Taufik Fadullah. He is the local representative for Blessed Dairies in Indonesia. Mr. Fadullah, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wicaksono, Mrs. Indriana, and Mr. Fadullah will deliver their presentations in 24 minutes for each. And after that, we will open the discussion and also the Q&A session with all participants. And to run this discussion smoothly, participants can type your questions in the chat box or use the raise hand features for deliver your questions. I and the committee will assist you to open mic and you can speak up for your questions. And then after the discussion sessions, each speakers will give their closing statements and we will wrap up the discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, before we hear the presentation from the three speakers, I will introduce the backgrounds of each speaker first. The first one, Mr. Boy Wicaksono, he is the head of New Venture and Technology Incubations of PT XL Asiata. And recently, he is graduate from the Master of Business Administration for Finance and Operations. And he has a lot of work experience currently in PT XL Axiata as a corporate strategy, integrated planning, cost and budget control, and new ventures and technology incubations. Also, several experience in another instance, like a project manager, senior engineer, and NOC engineer. And then the second one, Mrs. Nitya Indriana, she has lots of professional experience in marketing communications, and then soft skill trainer and MDI Track International, and then more than 2,000 hours of facilitating youth and professional, medical English trainer in NPR practitioner in Mayapada Hospital, and also she is the author of the book with title Divine Your Personal Branding. She also got achieved certifications and several educational backgrounds, and also involving in social movement like at Lima for Indonesia and then at the Save the Children. And then the third speaker of today, Mr. Muhammad Taufik Fadullah. He also has a lot of professional experience record from 2015 until now, like the local representative for Blastaris in Indonesia, that internship in Equestrina Bogor, and also internship in Directorate Polisi Satwa, Polri Kelapa II Depok, and also have lots of project experiences. And his current activities is supervising and advising at the Dairy Village, also assisting Extension Division staff and Animal Health Division staff of the COOPs at Lembang and Pengalengan. So, ladies and gentlemen, without waiting any longer, I will give the opportunity to our first speaker, Mr. Wicaksono. Time is yours.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Widya, for the kind introduction. And it is really honor for us, especially for XL Axiata, to participate in this event with summer course for the IPB. You know, we are in unfortunate circumstances with the pandemic, but regardless, I can feel the spirit, the high spirit with this online course, right? Especially like what is being shown by Dr. Shirley. We wish you all the best, Dr. Shirley. We wish you have a speedy recovery and get back to normal activity soon. And let me just start with the presentation. If can somebody show the presentation, or should I share from my screen?
Okay, you are allowed to, but if the committee also can help.
Can the committee help, or?
It may take us a while.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me share my screen then. Let me, okay. Oops. Okay, it's coming up. Let me, okay. Where is the share screen? Wait, it's not this one. Is it on screen already?
Yeah, Yeah, I can see your presentation.
Wait. Sorry, it's not this one. 1 second, yeah. Is it on screen already, Miss Vidya?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to share some of the things that we have been doing here in Excel Axiata, in particular with the XCAM. XCAM is basically the IoT Innovation Lab that we established a couple of years ago. Some of you probably may be wondering what is XL has to do with this agriculture industry, right? And it is very reasonable thought, given that me myself, like Ms. Vidya already explained, my background was mostly in technology and communication. And then I'm not a farmer. I'm not coming from a farmer families, but nevertheless, during the past couple of years, doing this innovation and technology incubation for Excel Axiata, I've been involved with several initiatives in agriculture based technology development. So that's what we will be sharing today. I'm joined right now with my colleague, Mr. Varianto. He's among us right now, and he will probably join later during the Q&A session. And let me start by a short introduction about Excel Axiata itself, right? To put context, what is a data-driven agriculture use cases, and what does Excel Axiata has to do with that? Most of us probably already know that Excel Axiata is one of the mobile cellular operator in Indonesia. We are considered to be among big three of the operator, and mostly we are serving the consumer, which currently we do have around 57 million end customer. And we have covered the whole archipelago. Mostly we are covering right now 95% of the populated area of the country, right? But then probably one thing that not many people quite aware, that Excel Axiata also serving corporate customers, right? Corporate customer means B2B kind of business engagement, and also business to government. In that context, then, as we are right now coming into the new era of Industrial Revolution 4.0, right? We've seen this is a opportunity to have a key position to drive the transformation across industries in Indonesia, right? Like we know, the Industrial Revolution 4.0 has several layers, started with the how right now with the IoT, for example, like Pak Derajat already mentioned earlier, that now we have the visibility, we have the connectivity to the previously untouched, quote unquote, things of elements of life, like, for example, many area of agriculture, right? And with that kind of connectivity, we put it into the big data system, doing the logical layer with the AI, machine learning, to get insight, to generate insight from the data that we collected. And based on that, we can do some actions, follow-up actions, to make some improvement to the ongoing operations. So these kind of things that we've seen is very promising, and we believe the direction is there, and we are all across industry is going to that direction, including, of course, the agriculture. And in fact, agriculture itself, like the previous notes that delivered, right now also touched by this new technology, and it is really very hopeful to get much more productivity from this kind of technology implementation. So learning from the other industries, what are the things that probably we can get benefit of from the implementation of this Industrial Revolution 4.0 technologies, right? The first thing come to mind, people usually think about automation. How that the connectedness of new devices can generate the automated action from the all system involved in that kind of industry, right? This is not something new. Actually, it's already implemented in many area of industry, including also the agriculture itself. But then the more interesting and the more powerful thing is coming from the use of the data generated from the device that is currently now being connected to the network, right? From the data generated, we can do many analysis, develop like a descriptive analysis, basically what is happening, and then we can go further into a kind of diagnostic to dig deeper to know why it happened, right? What is the reason behind the things that already experienced by the system itself. Then based on that, we can build a model. We can have a predictive capability to find out what is going to happen in the future, right? And that is basically the predictive capabilities of the system. And then based on that, we can go further into being prescriptive. What kind of action, right, that should we take based on the insight that we generated previously. So I think these are the capability to do analytics is really what can empower the productivity improvement across industry. Of course, what the image that I shown right now is coming from mostly manufactured, but I believe this also be applicable for agriculture. And then the third one is going further from the analytics, from being prescriptive, then we can do the adaptive collaboration. Means we can work together, quote unquote, with machine that here again, example in the manufacturing industry, but I believe also this kind of collaborative can also be done across industry, including agriculture. Now, the question is, given this kind of new benefits and capabilities, how we can actually implement, how can we actually realize the benefit promised from this technology implementation, right? There are a couple of things that still prevent us from fully exploited the benefits from the technology implementation. I can talk about it more in other opportunities, but in short, I would say that at least there are several key issues among others is how the ecosystem, right? The industry ecosystem in a particular country can support the implementation of this kind of technology. Now, it is also something that we are facing right now in Indonesia. So the technology ecosystem in Indonesia is still quite young, I would say, especially in the field of IoT and also AI. And that's why realizing that it is something need to be addressed, Excel Axiata launched our IoT Innovation Lab to drive the development of IoT ecosystem in Indonesia. So after a kind of preparation, we launched the lab back in 2018, and we joined force started with several universities in Indonesia. And going from there, we also grow our partnership, and I believe also included IPB right now, because we believe that we cannot do this alone. We have to cooperate to build partnership end-to-end with the whole member of ecosystem to realize this promising benefit from this technology implementation. So the objective of this IoT SCAM Innovation Hub really is not only limited into the technical space, but more onto the how we can accelerate the ideation, then the development, and then later on the commercialization of IoT and related industrial 4.0 technology, right? Because what we've seen on the ground for a couple of years, from the technical point of view, our talent is not really left behind compared to the other talent from the other countries. But what we really need is a kind of a driver to bridge the gap between the supply and demand of the industry. So that is something that we are doing right now with this IoT SCAM, IoT Innovation Hub. And what we are really doing, at least we are running 5 initiatives. The first one is we try to build the awareness in the market, right? How can IoT specifically, but generally speaking, the other industry 4.0 can give benefit to a particular industry, and how to articulate the needs and then to develop the best solution to address their pain point, right? And starting from there, we got many inputs from the market, and then we also try to stimulate the development of local startups or makers of developers of IoT, right? Because this is something also need to be addressed, the supply side of the industry. Building the demand side is not sufficient, then we have to balance with the supply side of the industry. And to do so, we are also open to do co-development by ourselves with the potential clients that they are coming to us. We had a discussion with them. We are trying to understand what are their pain points directly, and then based on that, our team will design and plan the best solution again for the particular client, right? We're also doing some cooperations, of course, partnership with universities across the countries, and also with the like-minded public institutions that are open for collaboration to develop the application of this technology and put it in the market. And lastly, we also run a couple of classes and workshops in IoT in particular. The idea is how to grow the technical local talent to support again the availability of relevant product and solutions in the market. So these are basically what we've been doing. And part of it, we are also heavily involved with communities, internal and external XL, to engage and develop IoT use cases, right? This is just one example. This is something that we are doing with university partners. I believe also IPB, students of IPB participated this program last year and of course the previous year. So the idea here is to combine the technical capabilities of students from partner universities with the business mindset of our internal XL Future Leaders students. So basically, XL right now is running a CSR program called XL Future Leaders, and Ibu Nitya is, of course, one of the leading driver in this initiative. They are in particular are developed in area of business and soft skill capabilities, right? And this then combined with the technical talent from partner university that we call IoT Makers Development Program. So the idea is, at the end of the day, the proposed solutions coming from the real pain point from the market is cooked, so-called quite well, and really ready to go into the market with the fast time to market. And along the way, during the program, we provide, of course, some development opportunities for the participants, ranging from the technical area and as well as the business and soft skill area. That's something that later on Ibu Nitya also will share in this afternoon, right? So this is something that we are also doing. And SCAM itself is right now is the first, and I believe still up until today, the only mobile IoT Open Lab member of GSMA. GSMA is this is industrial body comprising all mobile cellular operator in the world, right? So GSMA is kind of a governing body for all operators in the world. So there are three things that we aim for with this kind of partnership with GSMA. The first one, of course, we need to learn and share experience with other center of excellence across the region, information exchange, and in particular, we aim for the third objective of helping Indonesian startups and developer to develop their use case, and later on, of course, to market their use case even outside Indonesia. That is our mission. That is our vision, to make Indonesia as not only consumer of technology, but as a producer of technology. Our framework and our approach to develop solution basically follow this path. First of all, we started with a kind of ideation to find out and to identify what is the real pain point that we are facing right now. So this is really a very important steps to do. It looks like a linear process, but during the ideation, this is like a iterative process basically. It's not a one step and just then make the solution, but we really have a numerous discussion. We go deeper. We try to understand better and better what is the really root cause of the problem that we are trying to solve. Right? We have engaged with the clients in numerous meetings, doing design thinking workshop, FGD, and eventually we come up with a kind of a hypothesis for the solution that we envision can help solving the problem. Based on that, we go into the development phase. We started with small scale prototyping. It's really a rough prototyping. We do it on the lab, and we develop a kind of small scale lab POC in our lab in SCAM. And if the functionalities of the system is already proven there, we engage with the client again, and then we do a kind of a field POC, right? Based on that, the outcome of the field POC is resulting into a recommended and final design. And based on that, only from the proven result and implementation on the field, then we go into the commercialization phase by doing the mass production and eventually development with the client. So these are basically the steps that we've been doing throughout the ways. And let me share. Oh yeah, these are the portfolio that we've been developing, and currently also part of them still are being developed. As you can see here, that we cover many industries ranging from the transportation, logistic, energy, and all the way, of course, to agriculture. And as you can see here, agriculture took a very significant portion of our portfolio because again and again, we find out that many area of agriculture is really promising to be solved with this kind of technology implementation, right? Some of them are already going into commercial phase, but most of them actually still in a small scale POC, and hopefully within the near future we can quickly commercialize this solution. So on the next slides, I would like to share two of our agriculture-based implementation. The first one is related to the shrimp farming. Of course, when we are talking about agriculture, we are not only talking about the farming or plantation, but of course the aquaculture. So this is really a whole range of agriculture spectrum that we are trying to cover right now. So this shrimp farming, the idea actually was coming from a group of students from Tasikmalaya that came to SCAM for an internship, a summer internship in I think in 2019, right? So they came to us and proposed an idea of doing this project, given that what they have encountered in their hometown, right? So several problem statement that they have. I'm sorry, this is still in Bahasa because I didn't change it from the original slide. So the survival rate of shrimp based on the statistics that the reference that they got at the time was still below 80%, right? And one of the defining aspect is about the water quality that mostly is not well monitored, and that will lead into the mortality rate, the high mortality rate of shrimp farming. And the other problem that they've seen is the energy cost that is currently being used by farmers in Tasikmalaya at the time. And the other important problem also, mostly the farming itself is still run manually by the farmer. So these are the key problem that have been identified by the students, and based on that, they figure out that what if we can help them with a kind of automation and data generating system that can help the farmer manage their farm much better, right? So there are several data points that they envision to take, ranging from the acidity of the water itself, because again they try to address in water quality, and they also put a kind of temperature sensor to monitor and control the temperature, salinity, and also turbidity, as well as the level of oxygens contained in the pond, right? And this sensor then connected to a wireless network through a smart device, a smart controller, and then based on that, it was processed, I think in the cloud also, but I need to check whether it's on the edge as well. And based on that, it generates a real-time monitoring that can really help the farmer manage the shrimp farming. So this is basically the technical architecture of the solution. So the sensors are put in the several ponds of the farmer, and it is aggregated in a kind of a hub, a server, which locally process the data and then send the data into the cloud. And using our internal developed Flex IoT, this is basically IoT platform developed by Axiata Group. We process the data, and we can give the farmer a way to monitor and control its farm with the use of a smartphone. And also in the ground, we put a kind of monitor, so it will be really visible to the operation guy in the farm. So the farm itself can confirm with the operation guy on the field what is really going on with the farm, right? These are the implementation from the ground. So basically, it is because there is no source of energy in the middle of the pond. Then we put a solar panel to supply with the energy. These are the basically the hub of the aggregator of the data, equipped with several sensors that I mentioned earlier. And based on this data is fed into the cloud and then processed for further analysis and recommendation for the farmer. And these are the results generated by the implementation of the project. So before and after, we can compare here that the survival rate of the farm itself increased from 79 to 25. So it's like 20 to 20 percentage point. It is quite significant, and it helped reduce the electricity usage. Translated into the electricity cost is about 40% cost saving in terms of cost electricity. And then with the improvement in the yield and the productivity of the pond, the farmer can gain up to 20% revenue from this implementation, given, of course, assuming that the selling price of the stream stay the same, right? So these are one examples, and it was done right before the pandemic, but unfortunately the pandemic came, and then temporarily we halted the we postponed the commercialization, mass production of this system on the ground. And oh yeah, these are the teams working on that solution. These are the students, and eventually we won the first prize, the first winner of IoT competition held by the Ministry of Industry together with the Indonesian Association of IoT and ICT Ministry. The second use case that I would like to share, probably I will go through it quickly, is related to the IoT-based hydroponic system. So the problem statement that we had at the time is how we can have the farmer the visibility into what kind of nutrient requirement needed by the plant, right? And it is related to the fact that the pH itself changing over time due to several factors. Of course, participants here are more familiar with this terminology than myself, because my background was in the technical part. But the other thing that they need to address is how we can monitor the water solution, and of course drive the action needed for the essential nutrition and parameter required by the plant itself. So it really needs to be addressed because it will influence the growth of the plant itself, and hopefully can help fasten the harvesting time. And more importantly, this is also something they are concerned of, is about the manual operations of the farm. So they would like to have a kind of automated, unsupervised operations on the ground for the farm, because of course it is needed for the scalability of the farm. So these are the things that they have identified, how to put a kind of sensoring and monitoring capability, covering the essential parameters of the plantation, and how also to develop the actuator, right, to control the precise requirement of the nutrient given the real-time condition of the plant. So then they do a small-scale prototyping in our lab with it is very rough and quick to develop solution, and then we put in the system with the Flex IoT that I mentioned earlier, and based on that we did a field implementation in Depok in West Java area. I don't remember the size of the farm itself, but it's, I think, quite significant. And we cover basically the whole plantation area of this the farm itself. And these are the results from the implementation. So as we can see here, from the productivity point of view, it was shown that right after the implementation, the productivity, the yield of the hydroponic farm increased like a double, like more than 100% increase by implementing this product. And the other benefit that the farmer get is they now can reallocate the people doing the operations. Now they are helping more into the marketing part of the farming, so they can really leverage and channel the yield of production into the market in covering a larger area of market. So those are the benefits that is generated. And yeah, I think with this, I would end my presentation. And hopefully we can discuss later about some of the things that I've shared now. Thank you. I give it back to Ms. Vidya.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wicaksono, for the very interesting information about how XCAM can support IoT ecosystem development for our country by specifically engaging the smallholder farmers in broad cultivations. By the way, Mr. Wicaksono, talking about shrimp make me expecting something for my dinner tonight. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, let's going further with Mrs. Nitya Indriana. Mrs. Nitya, time is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Widya Hasian. Thank you very much for the bright and vibrant opportunity for everyone here, especially Mr. Drajat Martianto, Dr. Shirley, and Mr. Gatot Widodo, and everyone in the organizing of community in a vocational study of IPB University. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this kind of opportunity. So, Ms. Widya, according to myself, thank you very much for the short brief of introductions at the very beginning. So for everyone here, I am Nitya Indriana, yes, and we are going to have for about 30 minutes very fun discussion. So perhaps we are going to have two ways of communications, even though maybe you may drop your answer according to my questions on the chat box. So regarding to that, I'm going to share my screen individually. So, okay. Is it visible right now?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much for the information. Okay, everyone, good afternoon and salam. We are going to have 30 minutes fun discussions regarding to the topic of strategic communications plan to obtain the project goals in the era 4.0. Yes, I am Nitya Indriana from XL Axiata Future Leaders. In the prior sessions, we already have Mr. Boy Wicaksono. He is one of the master of IoT implementations in XL Axiata actually, and he is my personal master too, especially in the technology. So regarding to that, he's already speaking and explained to us here the holistic of IoT implementations, especially in our project under XL Axiata. But now, during our 25 minutes next, I'm not going to tell you on purpose, according to the example itself, about the agro-business implementations of communication strategies. Yes, that is my own purpose. But sometimes, somehow, we are going to do the benchmarking regarding to the strategic itself. So sometimes we already have a very good product. Sometimes we already have a very good services. Sometimes we have already a very good activities. But with the lack of communication strategic supported, we cannot announce people around us or people outside there regarding to very beneficial activities that we have done. That's why for everyone's here, regarding to the informations, the prior informations that one of the final assignment also you have to try to make a video regarding to IoT implementations itself. So we talk about the strategic communications plan in the era of 4.0. So before we go directly, deeply meticulous about the main topic, I would like to ask to everyone here, you may answer my questions on the chat box, as I have said on the prior sessions. Who wants to be the trending topic here? I would like to give you for about five seconds. Would you mind to drop your answer? You may say, yes, I am. You may say everything. Who wants to be the trending topic here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, thank you very much for the answerings. I can read that for more than 11 and still counting. 11 and still counting people who answer my questions here, that everyone wants to be the trending topic here. But the questions now, how? Because why? Every minute, every second, we hit with a very chaotic content in every from the omni-channels. In the prior sessions, in the prior time, we know just only the medium of online and offline, the newspaper, the radio, and also televisions. But in nowadays, we hit but the social media, but in YouTube, also with the conventional media like televisions, radio, and etc., and many more. But now, do you know these facts? By the way, speaking about the social media, especially about the Instagram itself, do you know this fact? When you are thinking that I will be one of the trending topic in the nowadays or in the near future, these are the facts. These are the main point that we are going to face up before we construct strategic communications. You should browse for average of 53 minutes every day. More than 71 of business using Instagram. How about your business? Now is the fundamental questions. 45 of Instagram's users are between the age of 18 and 44. Now, ask to yourself, how about your target audience? Instead of 18 to 44 years old too, or beyond that. 500 million daily Instagram stories that perhaps we can see, we can read, we can watch every day on our hands, in our gadgets. And there are 1,074 billion Instagram users that perhaps they are going to be our potential clients, as Mr. Boy Wicaksono said in the prior sessions. So regarding to that, our learning outcome for about 20 minutes more, we are going to be able to discuss and share about the last well formula. Every kind of communications itself, the fundamental theory, it would be start from the last well formula. And then the second one, we are going to discuss and practice using the 6 elements of strategic communications plan. That is our core. But I'm going to emphasize into the third activities of our, or into the third learning outcome of ours, means in the undertake communications activities using the SMART goal setting. So everyone here, you guys, yes, you, please prepare your notes, because sometimes, somehow, I'm going to give you the direct example or direct statements that there is no on my slide on your screens. Okay, let's start. Now, the Laswell formula. Harold Laswell ever said that. By the way, Harold Laswell, his communications expert theories, he just only said that when we are trying to communicate something into someone, a convenient way to describe an act of communications is to answer these following questions. At least we have to answer these 5 of questions. Who? Regarding to the communicator. We, us, as the representative of the program, representative of the community, representative of the product, service, or corporations itself, we have the control what kind of message that we are going to say to our target audience. What are the medium or channels that we are going to use? The omni one or the conventional one like mass media or televisions or radio or many more else's? Or who are the receivers, mean our target audience, and what kind of effect that we are going to hit for their feedback. Okay, that's the Laswell formula. So this is gonna be the fundamental model that we are going to use during our sessions. So regarding to that, speaking about strategic, of course, we also speaking about theme, about plan, about activities. And as I said on the prior statement of mine, we are going to emphasize into the activities itself. So you guys, everyone here with your team, we are going not to boost our self-development, but also we are going to increasing and boost the team development to hit the project solutions. Okay, so we talk about the communication strategy and plan first. Here we have the 6 elements of the strategic communications plan. Start from what are the purposes or what is the purpose, background, objectives, target, messaging, and how we approach using what kind of medium or channels. So regarding to that, I'm going to say or explain it to you one by one. Speaking about purpose, everything in our life start from you wake up in the morning into you close your eyes at the afternoon or at the evening on your bed. You must have any purposes. Sure, 100% according to that. And some with the communications strategic plan also. Purpose is reason that perhaps we are going to have reasons about what we are going to do. Purpose here in the definitions is a declarative sentence which summarizes the specific topic and goals. As the example here, I will give you a statement of purpose. We are going to improving 1,000 smallholder farmers in smart agro-business competencies in West Java by 2021. That's our purpose statement. How about the next of purpose? If we have any reasons already why we have to do this kind of strategic communications plan, so we go directly into the next sessions. What is the background? Why we should do that? What is the fact regarding the locations of the West Java itself? So according to the background here, I give you the example of out of 3,000 farmers, only 10% familiar with the way of smart. In here, the definitions of smart is the implementations using the Internet of Things, agro-business in West Java. That's the background. We are going to increase from 10% into what kind of percentages. So after we have known the background itself, why we have to do a kind of activity or a kind of strategic communications plan, we also have to know the objective of ourselves. In the objective, it's the very fun part actually. In the objective, you should have to declare it very detailed and meticulous. The objective definitions itself is, it has to be very concise, position-centered statement, describing the value you can add and the needs you can fulfill. especially here in the conditions of or in the theme of ourselves is the smallholder farmers. So regarding to that, I give you an example statement here by improving 1,000 farmers smart agro-business or agro-industry competencies in West Java by 2021 through Instagram video content which reached 20K engagement. That's going to be our objectives. So after the objectives itself, after we have known the purpose, the background, and the objectives, now we have to center into our target audience. Who is or who are our target audience? Who is the strategy created for? So in this kind of situations, our target audience is becoming smallholders farmer in West Java. Yes, it has to be very meticulous. We cannot see that it's just only with smallholder farmers itself. So you have to very details also with the locations itself. And next, after we have known the target audience, also we have to try to arrange what kind of message that we are going to share to our audience, to our participants, to our friends outside there. So it's very crucial to understand about the target market. So we have known already what kind of vocabularies that we have to take, what kind of intonations, what kind of photos perhaps, what kind of videos, what is the time of the video itself regarding to the differences of our target audience. So let's continue after we have known the message already. Let's approach them with kind of media itself. As I have said to you in my prior statements, in the prior sessions of our life, we have known the media, the kinds of media is just only conventional media like televisions, radio, and also newspaper. But nowadays, those kind of conventional medias is not erased, but substituted with the omnichannel, with Facebook, with YouTube. Maybe some of us here with the generations of millennials or Z, we are not watching the televisions again, but instead of watching the televisions, we are going to watch YouTube as example. Or instead of we read the magazine or we read the newspaper for try to look for some of informations, we try to open our Instagram with for the tick.com. We try to open the website. We try to open our TikTok sometimes just only try to look for some fun of contents. So in this kind of stage, you have to know exactly, after you have known exactly your target audience, you have to try to approach them with what kind of media that they perhaps to use, familiar with them, not just only familiar with you, but target audience centric, the familiarity with your target audience. After we have known about the strategy and the plan itself with the 6 elements, start from the purpose into the approaching of our channel. So now the questions is how to implement them all. What kind of model that we are going to use? So in the communications activities, mostly we are going to have this kind of model, the SMART goals. SMART goals also usually to use in the part of planning too. What is I do really, I can guarantee that everyone of you here are very familiar with the SMART goal setting. So it's just only kind of enrichment. What is the SMART goal setting? As for the specific, yes, you should have to set the real numbers with the real deadlines. Please mention the numbers, not just only lacking or with the qualitative statement like I want more visitor and then I want to raise the revenue or I want to reach out people in West Java. But set the goals with numbers. You have to mention it in the quantitative numbers. Why? Because with the quantitative number, we can measure how good we are. Are we still on the track or not? We can measurable for the M. So instead of you say that, I want to increasing the brand engagement as example. So you have to make sure your goal is trackable. How many percent already that you have done, or how many percent that you have left, and you have to try to compare with the time that you still have regarding the timeline. After S for specific, after M for measurable, now we go directly into the attainables. Sometimes somehow people a bit of confused. What is the difference between attainable and realistic? The most important thing that perhaps you can consider according to this, attainable is when you are not too really stressful, when you are not in the positions of super hectic, you are still attainable. Means it's still challenging, but possible for you to reach it out, not put you in the positions of I do really super stress, and it makes me insecure with myself, and many more. And realistic, you have to be honest. You and your team later, when you try to arrange some of strategic communications planning and drag it down into the implementations of activities, you have to be very realistic. What are kind of activities that you can do, or what you don't, or what you can't? So ambitious is really good, but sometimes somehow it not put you in the pace of attainable. Okay, so the last is time bound. Time bound means you have to have a timeline. Pardon me? Okay, I'm going to continue myself. Regarding to the time bound itself, we are talking about the timeline. So we know exactly when to start. We know exactly when to stop. Don't give yourself, don't push yourself pushing towards, oh my God, I have to reach 100K followers each day. But you have a very long timeline, so you can give yourself a deadline. Yes, you can measure in every weeks, in every month as example, but don't push yourself or your team too hard. So that's all the models regarding to the communication strategic communications plan that perhaps can support you while you are designing your video with the high creativity to support your very good product or services that perhaps you need to announce to everyone as your target audience around Indonesia or all over Indonesia or out of the world. Okay, so the last questions of mine. Now, still answering this on the chat box. So, what is your video strategic communications planning? Thank you very much. That is for me, from me. Thank you very much. I'm going to give the screen and the time back to Miss Vidya.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Indriana. Actually, what Mrs. Indriana gave you guys is sharpening and completing what Mr. Wicaksono already said. And then so many tips and tricks. Hope you already taken notes for that. And then it can help you to sharp the directions of your arrow. And then I would like to invite our third speaker, Mr. Fadula. Mr. Fadula, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you to all this event organizing committee for inviting me to this. Yeah, it's sophisticated event. I think, yeah, for me, as a veterinarian, this, especially the previous presenter, are really sophisticated. So yeah, I would like also to thank you to all the participants that still keep up with the session. So as introduced by the moderator, my name is Muhammad Taufik Fadullah. People call me Taufik. I'm veterinarian. I'm now working as a representative of Blessed Dairies in Indonesia for projects. And I will present my presentation. And as my presentation title shown, on this session, I would like to explain a little bit about the dairy farming situation in Indonesia and the importance of digitalization or implementing the current technology in dairy farming management aspect. So let me share my screen.
Aku pernah lihat punya bapak aku.
Wait. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So before we start to the main things, I would like to introduce my company, Blessed Dairies Company. So it started from 1854 with the Blessed family, which engaged in farming in Friesland area, the place or the area that well known for Holstein Friesian cows in north of Netherlands. So Blessed family start as a dairy farming. In 1900, the farm started to keep high qualified animal for breeding, and they're implementing the good dairy farming practices, aspects such feeding, housing, proper treatment of the cows, and good record keeping of high qualified animals. So due to this, they received in 1915 a special sustainability award for keeping a good record of the animal. And then it leads to the key activities of our company until now, the Blessed Dairy Company. It's a trading of the livestock. So in 1990, our CEO, Mr. Hank Bless, he made the Blessed Dairies Company, and then he still keep his long-standing family farming tradition in modern approach for worldwide. So now Blessed Dairies Company is expertise regarding the cow under the single roof. So for livestock trading, consultancy, and genetics. And then as for Indonesia, we have Bless have involved in one of the project from the Dutch government. The name is FDOV in Indonesia. For the projects of the FDOV, there is 2 countries that join in Southeast Asia, Vietnam and Indonesia. So for Indonesia, the part of the Bless that being involved in the project is the cooperative of KPS Bio Lembang and KPBS Pangalengan. And then on the FDOV project itself, I organizing a program for training of trainers for extension staff and animal health staff, a barn renovation program, and dairy village barn project that are implemented in the co-ops. So, and our tagline, Blessed Dairies is your partner in entire dairy value chain from feed to factory gate. So this is the pictures of the projects. So the left side is one of the project with training of trainers with the animal health staff of KPBS Pangalengan. And on the right side is the dairy village barn project in Lembang. So joining the project in the last 6 years makes me realize that there are tons of things that dairy farming in Indonesia can be improved. As for today's Indonesia, the dairy farming condition, so most of the farmers are small scale farmers. So the numbers is 144,000 persons, which organize in farmer group or a cooperative. And on average, they own 2 until 5 cows per person. So on the other characteristic of these small scale dairy farmers, a part of the cows ownership, they are heavy on human labor, and it's a bit subjective, but the feeling or the ancestor experience based for their practice or for their cows procedure or treatment. So for example, like how to raise their cows, how do they get the feed, or where do the feed goes. or get for their animals, and then how far they do implement the good dairy farming practices, it's really based on their experiences. So these terms of good dairy farming practices that I mentioned before, it's including feeding practices, milking practices, and cows treatment and recording. So it's a different story when we talk about the industries or dairy industries. So I mean, in this industry, I split into two type of industry. First of all is mega farm, and then the milk processing industry or the factory. So the different characteristic between the large scale farm or mega farm compared to small scale farmers is the human labor efficiency and database decision for procedure. And then the mega farm is heavily implemented the good dairy farming practices and utilize and optimizing the recent dairy tech. And in the last decade in Indonesia, more and more mega farms were established. So like I have in the pictures of Indonesian map, we can see 8 mega farms that are now established in Indonesia. The mega farm own more than 2,000 animals. And then most of them are owned by the milk processing company, or they own a milking processing factory. And then many of them are located in the Java Island in the higher altitude area. And some companies start to build another mega farm in the Sumatra Island. So for like PT Great Giant Livestock and then PT Ultra Sumatra Dairy Farm, they start to build or establish their barn in the Sumatra Island. The reason why the mega farm is established in Java area because there are more milk processing companies or industry in Java Island, and also about the market because the most populated island is Java Island. So there are 60 milk processing units or milk processing factory, but only 14 of them, the factory that absorb the domestic milk, or we call it as SDN or susu dalam negeri, susu segar dalam negeri. So the rest from 60 out of the 40, 14 out of the 60, they import the milk raw material. So these 14 companies also absorb 90% of the domestic milk that produced by the mega farm and also small scale farmer through the cooperative. So for example, like Nestle, Indomilk, or Indolacto, Frisian Flag Indonesia, Ultra Jaya, and Sari Husada, they are some examples, names that absorb the domestic milk. So for today's condition, and then to confirm my previous statement that we can see from the graph on the left side, that there are more than 1,000 tons, metric tons per day for the fresh milk cows produced. And then in 2020, and 83% of this domestic milk is produced by the small scale farmer. And then the rest is produced by the large scale or the mega farm. But as you can see, the orange one, the demand of the milk market, it's already doubled in a decade. In 2010 to 2020, you can see from 3,000 metric tons to 6,000. But on the other hand, the increasing of the milk production for the domestic milk is insignificant. Yeah, it's not really as high as the demand increase, but yeah, it's still insignificant. So there is a lot of potential for the dairy farming to help to fulfill the demand of the milk. And then as you can see from the right graph, we can see the importation number from which country. So we have 4 major countries that, or major area that import the milk to Indonesia. So there is US, USA, Australia, Europe, and then New Zealand. And most of the milk or the material that being imported is the skim milk powder. And Indonesia ranked 5th in global dairy market importation. So it's a really big market for dairy. Yeah. So this is the opportunity and the challenge that we face for the farmer, especially, or the dairy sectors in Indonesia. So the demand, as the previous slide shown, that still high and not fully supplied by the domestic milk product. So this is one of the opportunity for Indonesian, for the young generation to do dairy farming in Indonesia. And then the other reason why is this consumer demographic. So this demand really affected by the number of middle income consumer, which is increasing, and then their higher educational level. So, and also the last one, the majority of the population are now is Generation Y or millennials and Generation Z, which is they know about the importance of the milk. And the other aspect that really related to the consumer is the social media exposure of milk products. So like the latest example that we have just recently, the beer brand milk scarcity in the market. Yeah, it's because of the social media exposure. And then the higher educational people thinks that the milk really protect them from the COVID-19 infection, and then they buy just too much. But this is the fact that the milk is really important for Indonesia especially. And then the last opportunity is the natural resources, especially for the green fodder, because we have tropical area, and then we have a lot of land availability. I think it's outside Java Island. So it's kind of opportunity to grow more green feed sources or materials for the feed of the dairy farmer. And then the climate itself, especially in the higher altitude or the mountain area in Indonesia, they are available from Sumatra Island to Sulawesi. So we can develop more dairy sectors or dairy, we call it dairy pocket or dairy village in some at the other area in Java Island. And then despite of the opportunity that Indonesia have, we have some challenges. First of all, regarding the current farmer demographic, which is they are now quite old in average, so over 50 years old. And then they are in the cooperative because of the importation of the dairy feed, which is really dependent on the other countries' material, that sometimes the co-op get a problem with the farmer milk production. And then the implementation with the good dairy farming practices in a farmer level, starting from animal welfare, the quality and quantity of the milk, and then the recording itself, it's quite challenging now with the farmer. And the other thing, the last one, the global issues is the climate change. So this climate change, the big issue that we have to overcome, we have to, because I think the climate change soon or later will come. And then I think it started already. But all the challenge can be solved if we have enough data or recording, starting from the farmer level to the country level. So even the climate change can be managed if we have the data or the recording. So what are the importance then for keeping the record? So first of all, the dairy farming is a business, not a hobby. So to make a profit, it needs a regular evaluation and precise decision of improvement. And from where we get that evaluation or the decision is based on our data and analyze it. So the common types of the record in dairy farming is first of all, the records of identification of the cattle or the cows, and financial records, milk production records, animal health records, and records of agricultural inputs for the feed material, and other types of record. And the most the importance of the record keeping for the dairy farmers is the decision that they can make for financial, for livestock management, or evaluating overall activities. But for now, I think the system, it's really can help dairy farming to another level. So as my title showed, that digitalized dairy farming is, I think it's now starting, because there's a lot digital platform that I think it's there in the market for records the thing that the dairy farmer needs, and it's really impactful for the farmer. The mega farm already implement that one and then have a very big impact for their financial things, for the human efficiency, for the cow's performance, barn performance, and for the profit itself. And for the smallholder, it can be also done for that. Yeah, for example, the recording of the calves growth, it can be helped, especially for me, it can be helped to look how much investment then I need to give to the calf and then how much it will be paid back. And another thing that's still really hot issues now is antibiotic resistance. Now, due to lack of the records, especially in the farmer level, we have more and more antibiotic resistance from food, especially for humans. And one of the products is from the milk. Yeah, we can anticipate or prevent the resistance with a good recording starting from the farmer level. And then this is one of the platform that I mentioned before for the recording of the barn or the dairy farmer. I have Uniform Agri, one of the platform that I used in Dairy Village project. As you can see in the pictures, that this is the dashboard of the software. And then I really like the software because it's user-friendly. As I mentioned, the colors, it's really colorful. It indicates some status of your animals and how much you have the animals that first, like in the blue one, is open. It's ready to inseminate or just calving. And then you have graph to evaluate your performance and daily and real-time basic. And then the green and the orange one, the square in the rectangular, and the down one is the key performance index. So you can see if the orange means it's quiet, it's not really expected, but the green, it's very good. And then this is one of the features that I use. I think this is the easy one to understand. This is the freshening pattern or the calving pattern. So we can predict how many animals that calve down in every month. So I can make a decision on which month that I have to do more feeding or more preparing for the feeding for the laboring animal. For in this picture, like in November, December, and January, I will need more feed material for this special calving moms or calving calves. And then the Uniform Agri itself, it can be linked for the dairy farm automation, starting from sensor. Yeah, it's related to the IoT things, and then milking robots, parlors, scales, sorting gates, and concentrate station. So with this software, we can make the dairy farmer more efficient, especially in labor, and then also in time. And then, so not only in the cows or cows-related technology, but we can also integrate it with the agriculture technology to monitor the land, the air humidity, the weather forecast. So one of the example is to forecasting the seasonal milk production. So when we have the land that have less growth of the grass, we can expect there is less milk because the grass, the feed for the cows is less, and then we can have a regulation decision or even the subsidy for the farmer if that something happened. Then in my case, as a veterinarian, in combination with GPS tracking system, we can see the spreading of the disease for the animal by just looking the transport or the movement of the animal from one area to the other. So this is one of the implementation. And the conclusion of my slides. So back again, dairy farming is not a is a business. So business means profit. profit needs support from data, and data analysis help us to make precise step or decision. And every decision really matters for dairy farming. And it will be very easy to do the recording, especially nowadays with the smartphone, because it's less need paperwork, and we can keep out the thick book for the data, for the recording, for analysis purposes. And then if we have these accessible data, transparent data, and real-time based data, we can make the dairy farming in Indonesia is even more, it's healthier for the dairy environment in general, and also for the young generation to do the dairy farming. And last, this is one of my hashtag. One of the my problem that I learned from the farmer is when will we have the free time, because dairy farming in Indonesia, it's heavily on labor. It's kind of 24-hour works. So iraha urang ulin. So yeah, when we will have free time if we do the same thing like this. So I hope that the technology that we have, the development of communication technology, can simplify the dairy farming in Indonesia, and then the dairy farmer or the future dairy farmer can enjoy daily life more with more time. I think that's all for me. Hatur nuhun. The time and the session can get back to Mrs. Widya. Thank you.
Yeah, hatur nuhun, Mr. Padula. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wicaksono, Mrs. Indriana, and Mrs. Padula already told about their work in developing technology in smart farming and building partnership with smallholders farmers, which includes the fishermen, farmers, and also stock farmers for the last presentations. Now, I would like to open up the discussion floor for us. So if you have questions, please use the raise hand button, or just put your questions at the chat box so that the committee and I will assist you to open up your mic and you can speak up for your questions. Yeah. Okay, I got the questions. I will read it out. The first question. Yeah. The first question is, how to face digital challenges in Industrial Revolution 4.0 era? Yeah, I think these questions can be addressed for all the speakers. So I would like to invite Mr. Wicaksono first, and then Mrs. Indriana, and then the last, Mr. Padula, to answer and responding this question.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vidya. So yeah, Industrial Revolution 4.0 definitely bring us opportunities, great opportunities abound, like Pak Muhammad just earlier explains, right? For example, in the dairy farming, but also it brings, on the other hand, some challenges that that put us at risk, especially for those who are not ready for this era, right? So then it brings us to the conclusion that we need to be ready to prepare ourselves for this new era, right? It is, again, like just earlier explained, it will open and give us, more flexibility if we can do this. So there are a couple of things, in my opinion, that we need to prepare, especially for students here to get into this new era. The first, of course, developing use case and solution for this new era need an area expertise from every particular industry, right? For example, we in technology side from XL, we cannot do the solution without the support from the area expertise. So we have to root ourselves to build our base in the kind of area expertise that we need to stand for, right? So if you are in agriculture base, that's a good start. If you are in, say, finance, that's a good start, right? And then in addition to the area expertise that we need to develop, of course, we need to be open for the technology savviness. that we need to develop. We may not need to be very deep in technology understanding, but as long as we have the understanding of the languages, for example, then we can open communication with the technology expert that we need to work with, right? So that's the second part, opening our horizon to the digital advancements of this new era, right? That's why this kind of workshop, this kind of session is very important for students here who probably are not really aware about the technology advancement. So this is a good way to open their horizon. And the other thing is also, of course, it is very important based on my personal experience in the professional work, and it is applicable with or without the era, industrial revolution 4.0, I think, is to develop our leadership and soft skill capabilities, right? It's not enough to be becoming a top tier students, but it is more important also to become a good team worker, for example, right? So those kind of leadership or soft skill capabilities definitely need to be there, because at the end of the day, we work with humans. People said that technology will replace human, but in reality, it's coming back to the human interaction as well. So that's probably what I take from this opportunity and challenge in this new era, Miss Vidya.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wicaksana. And next, Mrs. Indriana.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions, by the way. What an interesting questions. Opportunity and also challenges in the era of 4.0. I ever been told that speaking about opportunities and the challenge itself, we are going to face them up not only in this kind of era. Echoing the statement from Mr. Boy Wicaksono that every single era start from the 1.0 into 4.0, we have some opportunities and also challenges that we have to try to face them up. But now in a days, regarding to my expertise in communications, especially something that necessary for you to understood and meticulous define start from the early beginning for the end-to-end process is yes. In the business, we have known already that we have 5 pillars. Start from the marketing, marketing, IT in technology, finance, human resource, and also the operationals one. So in every single conditions, you have to drag it down very in details of every single pillars in your business, the SWOT. So you have to try to analyze what kind of conditions in your own business, how good is that, how bad is that, so you can try to check how healthy your business is. Regarding to the communications itself, I want to emphasize something. Know exactly your target audience and speaking with their language. Sometimes, somehow, we are thinking about ourselves. Our product, our service, our activities is the number one. So we try to communicate to our target audience with our language, with any kind of our medium that we took. But sometimes we forget how to speak with their language, what kind of needs they try to fulfill. And as the information from Mr. Muhammad Fadilah, as I'm not mistaken, that you already implement regarding to the social media exposure for increasing your revenue. Yes, so that's the fun fact that today we already had the opportunities about the social media and omnichannels. Thank you, Ms. Vidya.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Diana. And then the last one, Mrs. Fadula.
I think I cannot comment too much on this because I'm no expert in this. But yeah, as I mentioned in the opportunity and the challenge in my presentation regarding the Industry 1.0, it will soon happen and it has already started. For the young generation, I think they need to understand, especially the technology that they have, because there's a lot of my opinion that the technology may take over the human. So I think the more you learn about it, the more you know about it, then you can prevent that from happening, especially in the agriculture. I think that's all for me.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I will wrap up all the answers. Please take a note, audience. The first is to developing your area or expertise, and then being familiar with technology savviness, and then develop your leadership and social capabilities. Also know the business process, the SWOT, and then identify your target and get along with them using their language and so on. And the last one is to understand the technologies so we can serve over the technologies. Thank you for all the speakers. And then at the chat box, there are already several questions too for the speakers. I would like to, Mutia Rahmania, are you with us? Do you want to speak up for your questions, or I will read out your question? Okay, I will read out. The question is, how do you collect data regularly, sourcing from smallholder farmers, considering the device they possess? Maybe I would like to invite Mr. Fadullah first, because if I'm not mistaken, you talked about data collection, right, in your presentations, to answering these questions. Yeah.
So basically, for the data collection, for now, I do both manually and then convert it into digital. So you just write it down in the book and then copy into the file or the form that we have. But recently, I think when one of the co-op in Indonesia, I think it's in Pangalengan, if I'm mistaken, they can input directly in their phone for the status of the animal, let's say the reproductive status. If they want to have a service from the co-op, let's say for the artificial insemination or to make the cows pregnant, they can just put the data on the app in the phone, and then later the officer or the staff will go to their farm. I think it's one of the example of collecting the data, and then they have the server for the data of all the farmers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ibu Mutia, is that answering your question?
Yeah, yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm mute, so I cannot respond directly. But actually, I would like also to know from Ibu Nitya and from Bapak Boy Wicaksono, how do you the mechanism collect the data, especially that mostly smallholder farmers, maybe they have the device, but maybe not as advanced as expected, to be able to input the data into the system. And usually, and also they have to be well informed, fully aware of the apps if it is in a mobile. So how the strategy to do that, since actually the data from the player, the farmers, is very important for us to make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rahmania. Mrs. Indiana, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions, Ms. Mutia Rahman. Regarding to the communications itself, yes, the data-driven is also very important for us for having some planning and also forecasting what kind of activities that we are going to implement in the near future regarding to our services, our product, our activities to our customers. But in the other side, regarding to some of my on experiences for having some mentoring sessions for the smallholder farmers. We cannot sometimes somehow we cannot give them just only 1 times, 2 times, or 3 times socializations how we use the handheld, how we use the things, the tools itself to support to collecting the data itself. But we also have the plan, the timetable, how many times we have to do the socializations, how many times that we are going to have a mentoring sessions for perhaps some of universities and also some of CSR company doing this. If I'm not mistaken, OCBC for the smallholder farmers too, they use the socializations activities and also mentoring sessions. And the last, they have to, the definitions of they here, as I said, is the small holder farmers. They have to give them the proof how much the increasing or how good they are in expertising the handheld or the supporting tools itself, beside the increasing of the revenue or opportunities of potential clients, the opportunities of enhance the business itself based on the vinyl papers or vinyl report. So perhaps that is my question. That is my answer regarding to my own experience, Miss. I do really hope it would answering your questions too.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Indriana. And now, Mr. Wicaksono.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Mutia, for the question. So to me, the key book for data collection, it has to be seamless. It has to be as less as possible human interaction in it, right? So it should be, if possible, it should be fully automated. So because human has inherent habit that can prevent them to continuously update the data, right? So the key is it has to be automated as much as possible. And then when that is where the Internet of Things come into picture, because the price of sensor, for example, already decreased very significantly over the past couple of decades, right? Not only in terms of price, also in terms of size and the technological capability. So that's why it opens the possibility for implementation of IoT, for example. So that's one thing. But of course, the sensor implementation itself is not enough, right? Because we have to build the whole system. We have to build the back-end system, and of course, the presentation model applications for farmer to see in their smartphone, for example. And then it will comes down to a significant investment, of course, for the farmer. Then the question is, how can a farmer afford this kind of solutions, right? And that's why exactly, it is something that I think not only one stakeholder, but the whole value chain need to work together, because I didn't explain earlier, one of the key challenges for the implementation of IoT and similar technologies is the business model verification. Yes, it may probably bring the promising benefit, but then we have to be able to quantify for the farmer itself, how much should I invest? And if I invest, what kind of improvement will it bring? Only if he is convinced with that kind of business case justification, then the farmer probably will be willing to invest. But still, even with that kind of justification, we need to work together with the other ecosystem player. For example, for the investor. Right now, actually, it is still confidential, but right now we are working together with ecosystem player. They want to address the end-to-end value chain book for one commodity, ranging from the production. So we are developing a kind of precision agricultural solution, and also developing the whole ecosystem up to the distribution, of taking of the crop, and also the providing the financing, and so on and so forth. So yes, I believe it's not a what I call this is a very complex a problem, of course, but in short, to be able to use this technology, from the data collection itself, it has to be fully automated as much as possible, and of course, it can be customized according to the actual situation of the farm itself. I mean, we may not need to cover the whole land with say as many as sensors. We probably just need one or two, for example, in one piece of land. So it can. My point is, it can be adjusted to the real situation in the field. So we can talk about it later on, in more details. It's very, very, very interesting actually to work on.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wicaksono. Hoping the answers of three speakers can fulfill what Ibu Mutia wants. Thank you, Ibu Mutia, for your questions. And then, because of the limitations of time, I would like to invite all the speakers to give the answer to the chat box, if you would like to. But I would like to read out some questions like this one. Good afternoon. I am A.G. Moon from Central Mindanao University. Thanks for the nice presentations. I would like to ask these questions. With the worsening impacts of climate change and increasing world populations, what will be the sustainability plans of smart agro-industry to thrive in a rapid changing world with the hastened shift in trends? I would like to invite all the speakers to answering this. Start from Mr. Fadula, and then Mr. Wicaksono, and then Mrs. Indriana.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to answer. Yeah, I think always in my mindset that it always have to go to the basic. So we have to find out the basic problem of these things, the climate change in relation with the world population. So what are the main problems? So like in the dairy farming, one of the problems is the basic one is the waste. Yeah, from the cows or the manure that it's been become an issue for several years or decades as one of the source, the gas source for the greenhouse gas. But if we see from the basic, we can see first about the feeding, and then how the farmer treat the animal, and then we can see what are the product itself, the waste itself, and then we can find out how to manage this product with this type of characteristic. And then from that, we can see the result. And I think with the climate change, it's hard to find the time bound to solve the problem, because I think it's going to be there because of the people, because of the people needs. But I think for me, I think it's have to be start from the basic. I think that's the answer from me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wicaksono?
Okay, probably short answer. Of course, from the technology standpoint IoT itself or Industrial Relation 4.0 cannot solve the whole problem, right? But probably something that it can contribute is, with the uncertainty of the climate because of, this, as the participant asked, the impact of climate change, right? This data-driven capability can help us, not only the farmer, right, but of course the regulatory body, for example, to adjust ourselves to make a flexible plan for the changes brought by this climate change, right? For example, like Pak Taufik mentioned earlier, that based on the changing situation of the predicted weather or climate around the farming, we can adjust our plan, right, for the coming months or coming years, for example. So that's exactly the contribution of IoT and IR 4.0 related technology. We have more visibility to the data from internally itself. Internally means the land, the cows, or the other things that we can control, or the external things, meaning like the weather, right? We can have more data, we have more input, then we have generate model, for example. And then back to my earlier points, we can make a predictive action or even prescriptive action to anticipate what is coming ahead. So probably that's my short answer for that, Ibu Widya.
Yeah. Okay. The last one, Mrs. Indriana.
Okay, thank you very much for the interesting questions. Actually, I do really have a very short brief for everyone's and for every questions here. When we are trying to solving some challenges, whatever it is, try to solve it with the fundamental models. Whatever challenge or weaknesses that we are going to try to solve, problem solving, decisions making. I am echoing myself according to the Mas Boy, Mr. Wicaksono said that regarding to the data driven, whenever we have to face up everything, do our critical thinking, what kind of decisions perhaps that we can get regarding to this kind of standing point of ours, and rather after that try to find some solutions regarding to plan and also forecasting of past of every single points that you have actually. So using the analysis, using the problem solving, decisions making, but right before that, try to use the model of 5 whys to find some priorities that you try to solve. What kind of problems that really in current positions of your standing point you should have to try to solve. Perhaps it's not about the climate change itself, but the other challenge that perhaps you should have to finish. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Indriana. Climate change itself is very complicated, right? So
yes.
All the speakers suggest us to use several tools to analyze the core problems, or maybe another problems that actually completing the issues. Thank you. Hoping all the answer can fulfill what Mr. Moore asked, Mr. Moore's questions. I would like to go to further questions from Mr. Denny Indratmo. The question is, how can we build sustainable agriculture, so conservation agriculture, for citizens who want to increase their income at town, which have small land, and for agricultural citizens which have limited knowledge in IT and limited thinking about sustainable agriculture and conservation agriculture? It's a difficult questions, but I believe 3 of you can answer this well. So I would like to start from Mrs. Indriana, and then Mr. Wicaksono, and the last one is Mr. Padula.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Yes, it's quite difficult, but okay. So I would like to try to answer it in short brief. There is no difficult things in this world, actually. The most important thing is you want to do that or start from the very simple one, very simple step, yes or not. I am echoing myself, everything we can plan. The most important thing, you have to try to define the most meticulous or the smallest thing that you have to try to solve at the very first beginning. Sometimes somehow people just only thinking about something big, but they cannot drag it down and down to earth. Actually, what kind of positions of yours and what is the first step that you have to do? So my short brief is try to analyze your standing positions. Try to go from the smallest step that you have to go and try to find some solutions regarding to your current positions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wicaksono?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Vidya. So definitely it can be done. Urban farming is something that is really happening right now, and not only urban farming itself, but technology based, or maybe if I can be a bit more specific, IoT based urban farming is really happening. Actually, right now we are working with a group of students. It is also under Ibu Nitya's supervision, that we are working with a group of students in Surabaya, developing this kind of urban farming solution based on IoT. Right? They have a very limited space. It is a community based, so several houses in a kampung in Surabaya. We are working together on that. Now the question is, which area should you focus on, right? You say that, say for somebody who have a limited knowledge in IT, should I develop the technology myself? The answer is no, right? You can focus on, for example, like I said earlier, on your area expertise for how to get the best practice in urban farming, for example, and then you can work together with the technology provider for that. The solution for that is already available in the market, and of course you can always contact us as well, because we develop several solutions on that front as well. But the thing is, you cannot be Superman for everything, right? You cannot be Superman. We need to work together, the whole ecosystem. It cannot be solved by one person only. That's probably my my quick answer on that.
Yeah, and the key is partnership, right, Mr. Wicaksono? I think that's
exactly.
Okay. Yeah, and then Mr. Fadula?
Thinking Mr. Wicaksono answer is already answered everything. But yeah, I agree with partnership. And then if you don't have any access to the IT, just ask person who has experience on it, because I think it's a basic thing, especially in farming. You can ask a person who have experience on it. And then now if you have an IT, you can Google it. And then I think the best thing to address our difficulties is to make for me, I think it's making a mind map. So yeah, it's a very simple thing to see, to find out the fundamental problem or the basic problem that we have or we need to do the urban farming. And then after the mind map, maybe we can try to ask people on or our connection related to the point that we already have in the mind map. Yeah, I think that's all for me.
Okay. Thank you for the answers from the three speakers. I hope it's answering Mr. Danindra more questions. Yeah, actually, all the question is very interesting. I read out all the question at the chat box, but unfortunately, our time is counting. So hoping in further opportunities, all the questions can be answered. The committee maybe deliver the questions to the speakers and then send back to the participants. And I would like give time to all the speakers to give your closing statement regarding your points or your presentations. And after that, I think we can wrap up all the discussion sessions. Start from Mr. Wicaksono first, and then Mrs. Indriana, and then the last one, Mrs. Fadula.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vidya. So as a closing statement, I would like to say that we live in a very exciting time, right? Especially you guys in the agriculture industry. This is really the time, you know, combining what you are very good at in agriculture and combining with the technology advancement. In fact, in SCAM, I have 5 teams, including myself, right? All of us want to become now a farmer because we see that, you know, getting involved with several kinds of agriculture solution, we can see that how the agriculture is actually future. And now with the coming of Industrial Revolution 4.0, we can take agriculture to the next level. So yeah, I think if I were you, then you know, I will get very excited with this. I will get myself prepared for this with all the things that we have discussed so far. And it's not is not an end. It should be a lifelong continuous learning. But because again, agriculture is really, really exciting right now. Maybe that's my closing statement, Bu Widya. Thank you.
Miss Vidya, you are still mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wicaksono. And then now, Mrs. Indriana.
Okay, thank you very much for the time. My closing statement just only very short and brief and concise. In any kind of conditions, yet in this kind of situation, the chaotic, and also many opportunities inside that, something that we do really have to do is prepare ourselves, especially in the kind of agro-business situations. Let we scale up, start from ourselves, let we increase our self-development, then escalating into our group development too for pay it forward to many else audience outside there. It's time to pay it forward. It's time to have collaborations. It's time for working together from every single stakeholders that we have in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Very sharp. And Mr. Taufik?
Yeah, for my closing statement, yeah, I think we are lucky now. We are living in the, let's say the 4.0 era, the internet-based era, the digitalized era, which is, I always said it's a lazy era. You can do many things just by sitting in your chair. So with this era, with these all the sophisticated things that are in the era, I think the farming or the farming itself can be very sophisticated, especially when we see the condition of the COVID now, that we can see that the agriculture is one of the key to overcome the COVID itself. And then, all the technology that we will implement it in the farming need to have the main purpose of increasing our happiness, especially that one. Yeah, the last one, it's iraha ulang ulin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm absolutely agree with all the speakers. And then I will give some conclusion after the presentation. So Mr. Wicaksono already told us about how XL Axiata is a strong player in Indonesia's mobile cellular, which entering the new era of industrial 4.0. And following modernizations, they come up with develop IoT technology and try to develop this ecosystem to help activities in many areas such as agriculture, logistics, transportations, business, and etc. And then from Mrs. Indriana, strategic is needed to make a good communications, and there are 5 elements of strategic communications, such as purpose, background, objective, target audience, and messaging. By those elements, we arrange how to get good communications, not only element in planning communications, but we can also set communication by smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And then the last one from Mr. Taufik. In today's Indonesia dairy farming, we are the several areas which have mega farm in Indonesia, which supply to the most milk processors company. The demands of milk in Indonesia is relatively stable, while the demands keep increasing. So there an urgency of recording in daily farming, embracing farmers to do recording by using digital platform for future prospects. Then the recording can be implemented in many activities, dairy farms, such as recording in production, performance, maintenance, humidity, feed consumptions, and etc. So I'm hoping these discussions will help us to get better understanding and then also give us insights for implementation in information technology in smart farming for smallholders farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your excitement. Stay safe and support smallholder farmers, because all of us belongs to the food system in Indonesia and also in the our friends country that following this webinar. Thank you. I'm on behalf of the College of Vocational Studies, IPB University, would like to say thank you to all the speakers, Mr. Wicaksono, and then Mrs. Indriana, and also Mr. Taufik. See you in next opportunity. Stay healthy. Back to you, Mr. Widodo.
Wow.
Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vidya, for guiding this wonderful and awesome webinar. Again, we'd like to say to deliver the deepest gratitude for the speaker, Mrs. Nitya Indriana, Excel Future Leader Facilitator PT Excel Axiata Tbk, Mr. Boy Wicaksono, Head of the New Venture and Technology Incubation PT Excel Axiata Tbk, and Mr. M. Taufik Fadullah, Local Representative for Best Dairies in Indonesia, for the informative, interesting, and insightful presentation. We also would like to thank so much to all participants who have performed an active, enthusiastic, and warm participation. Thank you very much for sharing. Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, and ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to end this webinar. But it doesn't mean finished, because we still have some other international webinar at 27 July 2021 on improving smallholder farmer competencies in Agro-Industry 4.0, university partner and industry partners. On behalf on organizing committee, thank you very much for your time. See you in the next webinar. Stay safe and healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you ya, Paul, teman-teman semua.
Thank you,
Terima kasih,
Terima kasih banyak
Bye-bye,
Pak
stay
Boy.
safe.
Terima kasih banyak Pak Taufik. Terima kasih banyak Mbak Nitya, luar biasa.
Sama-sama, Mbak Sonia. Terima kasih. Bye, stay safe.
Sehat selalu ya. Stay
Sama-sama
safe.
semua.
Terima kasih.
Ya.
See you in the next one.
Siap.
Yes, we will. Bye everyone.
Pamit ya.
Everyone.
Pak Arif, Pak Derajat, Pak Gatot semua.
Nggih,
matur nuwun.
Nggih, sami matur nuwun Mas Wicak.
Terima kasih Mbak Widya, Pak Gatot. Terima kasih.
Bu Tonya.
Terima kasih panitia semuanya, panitia webinar, panitia summer course.
Oke, selamat dan sukses ya Bu Tonya.
Sama-sama, terima kasih Pak Arif.
Semuanya.
Juga Pak Derajat masih hadir. Terima kasih Pak Derajat.
Nggih, monggo teman-teman.
Izin saya end meeting for all ya Pak.
Oke, live ya.
Baik Pak, terima kasih banyak Pak.
Sami-sami.
Nanti ada lagi tanggal 27. Sehat
27
selalu ya Pak. Iya.
Oke, siap.
Saya. Okay, webinar participate. Thank you for attending this webinar. You may leave this session. And for the summer course participant, we will meet again tomorrow. Don't forget, on the same hour, 9 a.m. Indonesia time, GMT +7. Thank you and farewell.